Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, everyone. I'm Professor Zhu, and I'm truly glad that you could join me for this online lecture today. Today, I'd like to talk about how learning Chinese linguistics can help us understand the ancient wisdom embedded in our language, a precious heritage from one of the oldest civilizations in the world. To start, let's think about a few questions together. Have you ever wondered about the characteristics of ancient Chinese and how it differs from modern accent? How does the pronunciation of language change over time? Are there similar evolutionary phenomena between English and Chinese? How can we discover the wisdom of ancient people through these language changes? Now, let's dive into these questions together. In today's presentation, we'll explore how Chinese linguistics can serve as a gateway to understand the ancient wisdom that has shaped our language over times. I will focus on phonological development and evolution, comparing the phonological changes in two important languages, Chinese and English. English, as we know, has spread across the world since the age of discovery. Over time, it has continuously evolved through contact with various languages, making it more refined and effective in communication. This evolution exhibits the remarkable adaptability and the wisdom of English speakers. While much research has been done by Western linguists, Chinese, being another major global language, has not received as much attention in terms of its phonological evolution. Today, we will explore the fascinating changes of Chinese phonology, which, like English, is full of remarkable insights. Although Chinese and English belong to a different language families, Chinese being Sino-Tibetan and English Indo-European, their phonological developments share striking similarities. These similarities offer valuable insights into how human languages evolve, adapt, and become more optimized over time. Throughout this presentation, I will introduce for you how both languages have undergone phonological changes, revealing common developmental traits. Even though the languages differ greatly in terms of history, writing systems, and grammar, we will discover how these changes have shaped the way we speak today. This comparison will also deepen our understanding of language evolution and uncover the hidden wisdom within it. Chapter 1: The Foundation of Chinese Linguistics. To understand how Chinese linguistics offers us a lens into ancient wisdom, we must first understand what linguistics is. Linguistics is the scientific study of language, including its structure, sounds, meanings, and social context. When we focus on Chinese linguistics, we are examining a system that has evolved over thousands of years. Phonological evolution encompasses the changes that occur in a language sound system across generations. These changes can be influenced by social, geographical, and contact with other languages. Chapter 2: The Evolution of Phonology. The Chinese language, with its long history and rich linguistic heritage, provides a fascinating case study in phonological evolution. Chinese phonology has evolved over thousands of years, from Old Chinese to Middle Chinese, and finally to modern Standard Chinese. Throughout this progression, we see significant shifts in pronunciation, consonant and vowel changes, and simplifications of certain sounds. Chapter 3. Let's now explore the similarities between Chinese and English phonological development. While the two languages have different phonological systems, there are many similarities in their evolution, including sound shifts and simplifications. These changes make the languages easier to pronounce and more efficient for speakers. In both languages, historical sound changes have dramatically altered their phonological systems. Let's look at some common phonological patterns found in both Chinese and English. 1. Assimilation. Assimilation is when a sound changes to become more similar to a nearby sound, creating a smoother and more natural pronunciation. This is an optimal evolutionary approach for making speech easier. Assimilation is a natural process. It is carried out unconsciously, so speakers don't normally realize what they are doing and even tend to be surprised when told that the actual sounds they produce don't always match the spelling. In English, we see some changes. 10 bucks, often pronounced as 10 bucks. The reason behind the assimilation process is quite simple. All articulator, tongue, lips, teeth, and so on, have to move from the position to another. Certain transitions are difficult to make in the required time, so they take a shortcut. Let's take a look at another example. The same reason, prefix in that indicate negation, influenced by the following sound. In has several variations. Please check the following words: incorrect, incapable, immortal, imbalance, illegal, illegible, illogical, irregular, irrelevant. In this case, we can say that in is affected by the following sound and undergoes different transformations. In other words, prefix in changes automatically with different contexts. In Chinese, assimilation is a very important way of sound change. For example, assimilation can also occur with connected words. The word 感冒, when continuous pronunciation, the sound of this word has become 感冒. It is influenced by the initial consonant of next word. The ending of the first word 感 became M. In addition, the final of the character 谢 was originally pronounced 夏, but changed to 谢 in modern Chinese because the sound R was assimilated by the preceding E. It becomes a sound closer to E that make the pronunciation smoother. Please refer to the positions of these sounds. Here is R, this is E, and A. Two, dissimilation. Dissimilation is the change or omission of one of two identical or closely related sounds in a word. This makes the speech smoother and easier. In English, dissimilation is common with liquid consonants like R and L, as seen in words like Canterbury or reservoir, governor, surprised, where one of the R sounds is dropped. In addition, the word pilgrim comes from Old English, peregrine. One of two R in a word changed to L in modern English. In Middle Chinese, the word 本 was pronounced as 本 with a medial U sound, but this sound was later lost, changing the pronunciation to 本. Due to the P and the U are closely related sound, they use the same articulation position, the lips, to pronounce. So one of them, the U, lost, and dissimilation happened. 3. Palatalization. In some cases, palatalization is triggered by a front vowel E. The pronunciation position of the initial consonant becomes closer and more consistent with front vowel E, which makes the pronunciation process easier and saves effort. In English, we can find palatalization happened in the alphabet G. Sometimes it pronounced as G. Sometimes it changed to G in words like garage and gigantic. English CH come from Roman C, pronounced as K. For example, the following CH still remain the ancient pronunciation K, egg, chaos, chemistry, stomach, technology, orchestra, and so on. But the following words have changed due to the palatalization: change, check, church, choose, speech, chat, and so on. Similarly, in Chinese, palatalization occurs in words like jiang, Middle Chinese jiang, and xiang, Middle Chinese xiang, where the consonants change to jiang and xiang in modern Chinese due to the influence of the middle yi. The modern Chinese pronunciation of ji, qi, xi are all produced by palatalization, just like the English consonant ji, qi, xi, yi is also produced by palatalization. 4. Metathesis. Metathesis is the rearranging of sound within a word to make pronunciation easier. English third come from Old English trida. Please compare three, third. The word three keep the original form. However, metathesis have occurred on the word third. Please see more example below. English desk comes from Old English docks. English ask comes from Old English axe. English wasp comes from Old English wasps. In Chinese, the sound changes in words like cui. In Old Chinese, pronounced as stui, and it changed to Middle Chinese, cui, ji. Old Chinese, sti, changed to Middle Chinese, zi. The position of the two consonants are exchanged. 5. Devoicing. Devoicing refers to the transformation of voiced consonants into voiceless ones to simplify pronunciation. A voiced sound is produced when air from the lungs causes the edges of the folds to touch, close, and vibrate. An unvoiced sound is made when air from the lungs flows freely to the mouth. So, voiceless is much easier to pronounce. In English, echo comes from the Latin ager. English lip comes from Latin labial. English two comes from Latin duo. Similarly, in Chinese, this phonological change rule can be seen in the transformation of B to P and D to T. For example, Middle Chinese, B changed to modern P or PH. Bai, Pa. Middle Chinese, D changed to modern T, TH. For example, D, Tian. Middle Chinese, G, G changed to modern K, KH. For example, Gong, Kuang. 6. Vowel raising. Vowel raising is a sound change in which a vowel becomes higher or raised. Make the tongue becomes more elevated its position to the roof of the mouth than before. In other words, this change allows the mouth to open less when speaking, make it easier to speak. This is a smart principle to save effort. Let's take a look at the vowel chart below. It will be easier to understand this principle. This is a vowel raising. The mouth opening becomes smaller. It can make you not need to use too much force and open your mouth too wide. Now, let's give some examples in English. In words like ask, count, dance, fast, half, pass, the letter A pronounced as R in British, while Americans pronounce it as a, ask, can't, dance, fast, half, and pass. They are vowel raising. In Old Chinese, low vowel R often evolves towards a high vowel U, A. That is to say, the mouth opening becomes smaller. For example, R changes to U. For example, Pu, R changes to A and change to E. For example, Ch, R change to A. For example, Jie, R change to U and Yu. For example, Qu. Here, the R is a low vowel. U, A, Yu are high vowel. 7. Diphthongization. The diphthong is to effectively strengthen the distinction of different meaning and make it clearer, just like the evolution of Chinese characters from the single character expression. For example, 车 in ancient times to the two character expression 火车, 汽车 in later period. Obviously, using two vowels to express the content of words has more permutations and combinations than using one vowel to form a word, and can also express many kind varieties with the development and the changes of society. In the 18th century or later, the monophthongs A and O become diphthongs in Standard English that produced the vowel A and O. We can also notice the pronunciation of English alphabet I change from E to I in pronunciation. English first person I comes from Latin ego. In the theory of great vowel shift, Middle English E changed to early modern English A, which later changed to A, and finally to the modern English diphthong I in general American. Please refer to the chart below. After the single vowel raising, it evolved into diphthongs, which strengthened the function of distinguishing meaning. In Chinese, examples of diphthongization include the following words: 窗、左、讲、学. These characters had only one vowel in Middle Chinese, but later developed into a structure with two vowels. We can find more examples of this type of evolution. The diphthong Wo comes from a single vowel R in Middle Chinese. For example, R changed to Wo, Wo. Middle Chinese, Nga, Ak changed to Wo, Mo. Middle Chinese, Mak. 8. The loss of consonant clusters. In Chinese and English, the complex consonant combination was transformed into a single consonant, making the pronunciation of syllables simpler and more effective. Using fewer consonants to express the same original meaning is an evolutionary method that conforms to the principle of simplicity. Consonant clusters are very common in Old English. Old English initial clusters HR, HL, HN, KN, GN, WR have lost their initial consonants today. For example, feeble, Old English, FL, laugh, Old English, HL, neck, Old English, HN, ring, Old English, HR. The pronunciation of initial K in the word knee is still preserved in Dutch, German, Danish, Swedish, but lost in English. The difference between spelling and actual pronunciation is due to ancient remnants. Old Chinese had many consonant clusters, just like English today. We can see many consonant clusters in the following examples in Old Chinese: KL, GL, ML, PL, and so on. For example, ge, Old Chinese gla, change to Middle Chinese ga. Min, Old Chinese mlin, change to Middle Chinese min and lin. They were simplified to single initials in Middle Chinese. 9. The evolution of P to F. German philologist J. L. Carl Grimm had put forward the theory that English F is often came from P. The word father came from the Old English pater. We may compare the following pairs of cognate words in English. Cognate is the words that comes from the same origin. Foot, pedal. Brother, fraternal. Break, fragment. They have the same origin, but they change in different directions. Some retain their original form, and some further evolved. Why does P become F? Plosive P is a more laborious pronunciation, which gradually transforms into more relaxed and effortless frictive sounds, F. But it retains its original place of articulation, labial sound. This is an optimized way of change. How the Chinese linguists discovered this phonetic law? A Chinese scholar, Qian Daxin of Qing Dynasty, had also great discovery in the evolution of pronunciation over the long period of time. He believed that the current F sound was originally the P sound in ancient Chinese. This evolution can be seen from the translation of ancient Buddhist scriptures. Words that are pronounced as F in modern times were pronounced as P or B in ancient times. For example, Buddha, translated as 佛陀, Subhuti, translated as 须菩提, Sariputra, translated as 舍利弗. 10. The evolution of stop change to frictive. This is the phenomenon that relatively strong plosive sound. This is a smart way to save some energy of the vocal organs. Plosive PTK and BDG is a more laborious pronunciation, which gradually transform into more relaxed and effortless frictive sounds. This is one kind of optimized evolution method. In English, Prague, produced as a bracha, in Czech. They have same source and prototype, but differentiation occurs in different regions and languages. According to Grimm's law, the chain shift can be represented as below. Here are stop, plosive sound. These are frictive sound. The Proto-Indo-European PK, PTK became frictive in Germanic languages. For example, fish, father, 100 in English come from Latin piscis, pater, cantum. English 3 comes from Latin tres. In Chinese, for example, 胡, Huang, Old Chinese, Gu, Guang, changed to Middle Chinese, Hu, Guang. Xiang, Si, Old Chinese, Diang, Di, changed to Middle Chinese, Xiang, Zi. In addition, we can also find such changes, K to H. For example, 客家 Hakka, 卡什 哈什. Chapter 5, Conclusion. Unlocking ancient wisdom through language. The exploring on phonological development of both Chinese and English reveals fascinating insights into the evolution of language. While these languages are vastly different, they share common patterns of phonological change shaped by historical, social, and cultural forces. In fact, early traditional Chinese culture began to develop a philosophy centered on simplicity and effectiveness. The ancient classic Yi Jing embodies this way of thinking, offering a simple set of principles to understand and explain the operations and changes of all complex phenomena in the universe. This is represented through the Ba Gua, 8 trigrams theory, which was later distilled into the dual elements of yin and yang. Today, we can further discover that the wisdom of using simplicity to manage complexity is also reflected in the development of language over time. Through language comparison, we can unlock the wisdom of ancient languages. By studying Chinese linguistics, we can access the profound culture and the philosophical traditions that have shaped Chinese civilization for thousands of years. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the lecture.